It got more difficult in my teens because my legs were very bowed. Everyone at puberty, shot up. I didn't. I was just sort of forging my own, fun way of living, and had lots of hobbies. Loved my BMX. I've been travelling all over the country, going to competitions and meetups, and you turn up somewhere, completely strange town, and you'd meet all these people who are just so brilliant. You get maybe a mental image of yourself and you are the same height as everybody else and you do not walk any differently than anybody else. You don't feel or see any of that in one part of the image of yourself, and yet you walk somewhere public and it's getting reflected back to you constantly where people are staring at your legs. In my late teens, doctors said to me, okay, well, when you've stopped growing and your bones are fused, we could offer you some operations to correct the misalignment, the bowing in your legs. So at the age of 19, started on what would be years of orthopaedic operations. We went to a BMX meetup in Sheffield. The day before I was going to have my first operation, I put my bike in the boot and drove home and had this operation, and I never rode my BMX again. I couldn't. Through all these operations, I carried on. It didn't stop me because I still had energy, vitality, youth. So I was working, I was colleging, I got into getting photos in magazines and things.
When I first met him, he had ME and he had XLH, but it's got a lot worse recently. I lived in Preston and he used to be able to come and visit for weekends. I mean, he'd have to really rest the day before and he'd get quite anxious and over several days he'd slowly pack his suitcase and then he'd come, and then the whole of the next day he wouldn't be able to do anything, and then maybe we could go out for an hour the day after, and then he'd come back and then he'd have to rest. So it's a whole week for him to do 2 hours of activities in another place.
What I've did and what I do now is you just think laterally about the problem. I couldn't go out and photograph people on ramps and things, so I really missed my photography, and I thought, what photography could I possibly do from my sofa? I got into photographing birds and started up a Instagram account with all my photographs of birds, and just learning stuff and interacting with other people. For me, it's all about if I've got to be creative in some small aspect, make that happen somehow. The pain in my hands has really been a problem because up to a couple of years ago, I could use my phone and stay in touch with people, social media, photography, computer stuff, driving, but in recent years and still like daily, I'm having to cut back till I daren't pick my phone up nowadays. I know if I do, there's kind of a timer starts in your head. You've got 2 minutes, and you shouldn't even be holding your phone right now, because they just become very, very painful, and it's like quickly gets painful, but it takes a long time to subside. Your life is on hold. Any dreams or hopes, plans, that you had are just gone, especially in more recent years when other aspects of XLH, joints, bones, arthritis, become more of an issue. Daily you're adapting, not just for yourself, but I'm not able to do things with Jackie, and the biggest single thing for me is not being able to do, and historically not being able to do more with my kids. I had two wonderful boys who very fortunately didn't have XLH and weren't carriers of XLH, and the genetics of this, it weren't clear to me at the time. No one had explained to me anything about that. Subsequently we got genetic counselling where they said, okay, if you'd have had girls, actually they would have had XLH. Skidding on the ice here, but you can see the bowing on my legs. So these offshoots, of XLH, dental issues, Meniere's disease, arthritis, when you combine these conditions, it's just beyond difficult. Yeah. And there's the XLH just sprouts off into all these genres of conditions, that affect you. You say, how do you cope with it? Well, you don't really cope with it. It's just a fight to get through each day and each night the best you can. Over the past 3 years, I've maybe had 2 appointments with my specialist, maybe 1 in person, 1 telephone consultation, and in the meantime, I can't live, I can't exist because of the pains in my hands. I'm trying to treat them with creams and gels and tablets and braces and cushions and this and that and the other, and thinking, not doing this and reducing. Okay, well, if that's hurting that, reduce it. And, I absolutely desperate for help, and I can't access it. There's nothing there, and yeah, going forward, that's incredibly scary.